Should I switch to an AI team? Should I worry about leaving behind the regular software development and just switch to an AI team? But companies will also try entice candidates, and many times in a wrong manner, by glorifying AI in their JD. So if I'm applying to a position which has AI component, right? How can I catch the company or the hiring manager? What are some critical questions that I can write to understand the depth of the AI work that they're doing?
AI is a tool in your tool belt. Of course, a very, very, very powerful tool. But at the end of the day, it is just another tool. Today, if you're trying to train a state-of-the-art LLM, a single train cycle can cost $1 to $2 million. Now, because the amount of expense is so high in a single train cycle, you also require engineers which are trying to engineer this to extremities so that the cost can come down drastically. AI
Right.
just can't do that.
And we are live. Welcome, Anuj, to next edition of Pakka Nimbu podcast. Anuj is an author of a major book in AI, which is Practical Natural Language Processing by O'Reilly. This book is endorsed by top AI leaders, including those from CMU, UCSD, DeepMind, Google AI, Microsoft Research, Amazon AI, Spotify, Meta, and Y Combinator startups such as Airbnb, Sharpest Minds, etc. The book is already translated in 5 languages, 180 plus citations, used by 50 plus universities globally for their AI curriculum, including IITs, IIMs, and Blaksha. Anuj has been working in the AI field for the last 20 years. He has led AI efforts at possibly one of the earliest startups to be funded for its AI capabilities back in 2013 in India. Anuj has incubated and led AI efforts and built AI systems in both startups, 0 to 1, 1 to N, as well as Fortune 50 leading to acquisitions and IPOs. He now runs a boutique advisory helping founders, VCs, CXOs across the globe to navigate all aspects of AI journey efficiently. Welcome, Anuj. Happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Pavan. Thank you so much for a generous introduction. And I am glad to be here. I've heard a lot about your podcast. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's dive right in about developers. AI is, of course, a big thing today. Let's talk about some career counseling for developers at all levels in the field of AI. So, I'm myself pretty clueless when it comes to the nitty-gritties of AI, right? So that makes me a bit more qualified to conduct this conversation. Let's say I'm a senior developer. Should I switch to an AI team? Should I worry about leaving behind the regular software development and just switch to an AI team?
Uh, so one, I would say it purely depends on your interest. Always believe it's always good to pursue what you love than just say what is trendy. Right? Today it's
Right.
AI. I'm sure another 2 years from time this will be quantum. Maybe who knows what else is coming down the line for it. So in my own case, I purely happen to be in AI because somebody introduced me to this whole area many, many years back. I
Right.
fell in love with the initial stuff that I learned over them. And whatever I'm today, primarily a product of that love. I mean, when I started AI, there was hardly anybody even doing AI in that sense. Right? So I think
Right.
that will sustain you better. You need to find what you are naturally very good at. I would suggest stay there and do your very best. You're likely to do far better.
Okay, so let's say those areas are the classic software engineering roles that exist today. Maybe that is product development, platform development, DevOps, data platform, and front end. Which some of these verticals, the classic software roles, are still required by an AI department, right? Like,
AI will still require all of them. So it's almost like you are part of a team that is building a car. Now, only thing is the engine is getting replaced, right? Maybe a far more rather than having a normal 800 horsepower engine, you're now bringing in a turbo. Of course, you'll have to redesign the entire chassis because you can't fit a turbo on a Maruti 800, right?
right.
You'll have to redesign the entire body, so the entire UX version. And here is a technology that's going to make a lot of mistakes. So as a matter of fact, I don't know how many of people really know this, but AI requires very specialized UX design because AI systems still make a lot of mistakes and they'll continue to do that. Now, how do you design products that continue to deliver very good user experience despite your core system making a lot of mistakes? Now, that is a very interesting challenge. And when you look deep into the bellies of AI, you'll find that you require very specialized UX designs. But there are
Can you take a small example here
okay.
to motivate the point better?
So okay, all of us use Gmail, right? And I'm sure all of us have seen this autocomplete feature in Gmail.
Right.
Now you're typing a Gmail or email on Gmail on your laptop, and it will suggest you 2 or 3 next words.
Right.
Right. Now, I'm sure you must have noticed this suggestion is not in black. It is typically in very light gray.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason it is in very light gray because it's a soft suggestion to the user that hey, based on what you're writing, based on your writing pattern and the global writing pattern, I think these 2 words are what should be the next 2 words. Do you want to pick it or not? So you press a tab and then you can pick those 2 words. Now, if I press, and you should try the same, if you press the backspace or the delete button a couple of times, the system suddenly will stop making any suggestion. Because the system perceives this, oh, I suggested certain words. This guy quickly, as out of habit, opted it, but now I have deleted. I made another suggestion, he did the same. I made another suggestion, he did the same. Looks like whatever I am recommending, it's not working for him. Let me not spoil. Right? So AI is not the master. It is not saying, hey, I have told you this, you take this word. No. One, I was making a soft suggestion. Two, there was a secondary system in place which figured out without me shouting at Gmail, hey, what the hell are you doing and all of that stuff, right? Very quickly, in a very subtle way, figured out it is not working for him. Let us take a step back. Now, this is such a sophisticated loop that has been built into the system to make sure that the experience continues to remain good. This is one example of specialized UX for it.
Got it. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so you're saying all the roles are relevant,
Yes.
and yeah, you have to redesign a lot of stuff. Yes.
Yes. Only thing is, because you are fitting in a turbo engine, it comes with its own share of pros and cons. It can take car very, very fast, but it heats up, right? So you maybe cannot fit any more 4 seats like a Maruti to do, right? It takes a lot more space, right? It needs a very specialized fuel, right? So it can't take any orbit data. It requires good, high quality data, right? So the AI is not a plug and play that you can mount on top of an existing car, not an engine that you can mount on top. When you bring in a new, very powerful engine, you have to redesign the entire car from scratch. And
Right.
that is what AI systems are. So the back end, right? The front end, I've already given an example of front, right? In back end, you have a lot of how the data processing happens because your compute is the expensive resource. So how do you keep all your data in a ready-made format to be pushed into it, right? How do you do a lot of extreme engineering to see can you run the system on a CPU because CPUs are powerful.
Right.
I mean, I remember there's a project where we almost operationalized 50,000 models simultaneously. And obviously, my head of engineering was on the verge of killing me. I mean, who the hell or tries to operationalize 50,000 models simultaneously? So we had to do some very extreme engineering for that particular problem, whereby we brought down the size to MBs, like gigs, right? So that all of this can still fit in a 16 GB RAM,
Right.
right? So it's not that these roles are going to go away, but I think the demands of these roles are going to evolve. Because there were people who were driving horse carts in 1900. Now people are driving cars. Maybe tomorrow we'll drive something else altogether. The role, I think, is largely going to be there, but the needs of the role will change, right? So today, pilots don't necessarily drive an airplane. It's largely done on an autopilot, but still you
Yeah.
need a pilot behind the scene because things can go wrong and you need the human to take over. So you still need the pilots.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying it is not like switching to AI or not switching to AI. It's more about being aware of AI and being aware of what AI's effects are on your craft, whether it is mobile, whether it is front end, back end platforms.
Yes.
Be aware of the effects.
Yes, all of this will change, right? It's like earlier, most of our ingredients in house used to be fresh from farms. So we had one cooking style. Now maybe half of the ingredients come in a packaged form. So maybe some changes have to be done to the cooking style to accommodate that. It is still up to the cook.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So, how many positions are actually getting hired in AI? Is that like a lot of positions? Is that too few positions? What's your perception?
This depends on the market as well. So if you talk of the Silicon Valley in US, it's a mad rush right now. So I mean, just last year, Netflix put out a JD where they were willing to offer as high as 900K for an AI product manager.
Yeah.
Not a developer, but an AI product manager. I
Yeah.
don't know when was the last time a product manager got such high crazy number in
Right.
value also.
Yeah, because nobody has that skill. So it's such a rare combination that they are willing to offer that much higher to just lure the talent.
Yeah. So even if you look at, you do a quick search on Google, sorry, on LinkedIn, say head of AI, right? You'll find mostly those positions in US spectrum, right? In Europe, it is happening, but not so crazy rate like US. I think India, it is happening, but maybe much lower than even Europe, I would say, right?
Okay.
So, and maybe there are other markets which are much, much lower than even, I think Australia, there's hardly anything compared to India, is what I was speaking to someone, is the broad sense that I got. And I could be wrong also, you know, I'm not a definite expert here. Maybe you should go and check out some of the reports by LinkedIn and other such platform. But I would say in Valley, it's huge, it's massive. Then Europe, maybe then the Indian ecosystem, and then out. Purely
Got
on
it.
the basis of number of phones.
Okay. Okay, interesting. So if there is that mad rush, eventually it'll reach India as well. And there is definitely an uptick here where people with some sort of AI flavor in their work experience are preferred. If you've worked on an AI model, a data pipeline that eventually feeds into an AI model. If you have worked on creating infra and provisioning infra which auto scales in
Yeah,
production,
yeah.
which processes AI model, anything related to AI, that has some effect. Now, as a developer, right, what are some wrong steps that I can take in the name of adding AI to my resume or to my work experience? What's the wrong way of doing this?
I think somewhere, I mean, this is again my personal opinion, right? It's okay to not have AI on your CV. I think what people are looking, or at least I can talk of the startups, right? Startups don't necessarily have a very structured way of hiring that whole how you apply and then this happens and then this happens. Startups are looking for people who can do to get shit done at all costs is the mantra at startup. I'm sorry for using that word, but that's the reality, right? Uh,
Yeah.
One in startup, it is important, especially if it's an early stage startup, it is important to be a generalist. Uh, right? It's almost like this is one of my seniors has recently put this out on a post, right? Can you be water? Can you take the shape of the object in which you are?
Yeah.
0 to 1 startups need absolutely people. Two things that matter. One, once I say I will get something done, get it done. If I have to chase you, you're not a 0 to 1 employee. Get on. Two, can you be, oh, this is not part of my duty. Sorry, not acceptable. Can you be water? You pour me in a plate, I'll be flat. You pour me in a glass, I'll be whatever. Right?
Right.
I have no smell. I can take the smell that I'm given. I can take the color that I've given. I can take the shape that I've given. Right? That's from a lot of people tend to put a lot of projects. I've done this. I've done this. I've done. I think what people are looking for is some kind of a depth.
Hmm.
If you've done how well you've done, they might not necessarily be judging you on your AI skills. I think what is being judged is when you cover some topic, how well you learn it. Right? I mean, this was a question I remember somebody had asked. Why does engineering have 6 subjects every semester and then 8 subjects? So looking at 48 subjects.
Right.
What the hell? What is there to learn? Well,
Yeah.
I think the way I saw all of that is, and I learned this much later after graduating, not when I was in my own graduation, I'll call it. But these are like 48 training loop. What each one is basically trying to teach you is not the subject. What they are trying to teach you is how do you learn?
Yeah.
How do you learn a subject? How do you master a subject? Right? Because tomorrow you could be asked to learn anything. I mean, today you are an engineer, tomorrow you could be a founder, day after tomorrow you could be a VC, right? Day after tomorrow you could be a consultant in one of the top four companies of the world. Right?
Yeah.
Do you understand the art of learning it?
Yeah. And I think even if you're a developer, the nature of the technology keeps changing. So God knows what will be after like
Yeah,
15 years,
absolutely.
20
I
years,
mean,
25 years.
did you make simple observations like, hey, when you compile a code in C like this, it throws up some crazy errors, right? Why does it happen? I got fascinated by this. I jumped into it. So all those explorations typically start with some kind of a question like this: why is it happening the way it is happening?
Right.
And this could happen in as simple as shell script. I know I've called it simple. It is not as simple as that, right? I mean, shell script in itself has a lot of power, right? So I would say depth first rather than breadth first.
Hmm.
Right? Can you say here are two topics I am damn good at? Which of them? I think
Right.
that's a far more meaningful conversation rather than saying that I have solved 80 problems in AI, this and that. Applying algorithm saying that from this import this, X dot fit this, right, and then M dot predict is not AI. Let us be very, very, very clear about. Do
Yeah.
a
So you
lot.
should be able to explain, like when you do X dot fit, what exactly are you fitting? Why are you fitting that and not something else?
Do you
What
understand?
differently?
Do you understand a lot? What you're writing on your CV, do you understand in its bones?
Right.
Right. And it could be as simple as I took three months off, traveled, I got lost, I survived on an island on my own. Even that is damn interesting.
Right.
But
Yeah. Just that.
you show depth
Right.
to understanding of whatever you have done, or at least some part of what you've done. Maybe not everything, not possible. But at least there are one or two topics where like you show depth. I
Hmm.
understand it's like no one else.
Yeah. This is like the absolute mini masterclass on resume writing, which is everything that you put on your resume. You should be able to explain it and talk about it for a few minutes, if not a few hours, and that will build you as a solid candidate. Okay. So targeting breadth is the wrong thing. Depth is the right thing. You answered both in one shot.
Yeah.
Uh,
So of course, right? If you look at undergrad, it is by design, right? But
right. Yeah.
within that, can you have two top? Okay. I love algorithms. Or I love suffering.
Yeah.
Doesn't then I understand it to a different level also.
Yeah. Or I love networks, or I love operating systems, or I love databases.
I love organizational behavior. I mean, forget about all of this stuff. Okay. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then do you understand that well?
Yeah.
Because there are people who have done PhDs in it, people who have done who are professors of these subjects. The books are written by them. So it's not
Yes.
that those subjects don't have depth. Maybe you were not enticed enough.
Hmm.
Right? But these are 48, which is why I said I see them as 48 training books. Can you at least pick one of them and go deep?
Right. Same goes with the career as well. So just tying this back to the question, if as a professional developer, I got to do something on AI. First of all, I shouldn't be afraid if I have nothing related to AI on my resume. But if I have, I better have depth, or else it just becomes a gimmick. Um, yeah.
Yeah, because I think, see, the way to this is how the candidate should think, right?
Hmm.
If you're applying at a good place and being interviewed by good folks, they will catch it. So
Right.
surely you will lose. If they don't catch, do you want to work with people who could not catch it and build your career from there? Again,
Right.
again you will lose. Right?
Yeah. Very, very good
So,
point.
so ultimately, you should think of yourself, right? The idea should be to work with smart folks, probably the smartest folks on the earth. I think we'll cover this in a little more depth, right? But the second point I want to bring is a lot of people tend to write a lot of things in their CV. I mean, I've had scenarios where I read the whole CV. मुझे लगा this guy had 15 years of experience. When I looked it carefully, I found out this guy is still in his third year of undergrad. Right?
Oh.
Okay. I've had these experiences. Uh, while we respect you that you have done a lot of stuff in your undergrad, come on, let's be practical, right? If you are from a good college, you'll only get so much time, right?
Right.
So again, put one, two, three things that will really highlight.
Hmm.
Don't try and make it a 7-page essay, right?
Right.
I mean, this is a line that I had read from one of the persons I really personally admire. You should, a CV should not be about 5 to 7 pages, right?
Yeah.
Can you do work where you can write one line about you, and that one line defines you, right?
Right.
I built the first search engine of the world, or I spent 7 years in building search engines of the world. That itself is a CV.
Awesome. So this is about not committing mistakes on the resume, but companies will also try entice candidates, and many a times in a wrong manner by glorifying AI in their JD. So if I'm applying to a position which has AI component, right? How can I catch the company or the hiring manager? What are some critical questions that I can write that I can ask to understand the depth of the AI work that they're doing?
So ask them about the problem that you are most likely to work on. Ask them about what metrics have been set to track the performance of the model, both ML metrics and business metrics.
Right.
Right? Ask them about data set. How large is the data set? What are some of the attributes of the data set? Okay. Ask them about the daily rituals. Do they have Scrum? You'll find that a lot of mature teams understand that. And this might be a surprise to a lot of people in your podcast. Scrum is very counterproductive to AI development.
Oh, why so? I like to hear.
Okay. Should we complete this answer first and then maybe?
Sure. Yeah. Let's come
Right?
back to this one. Yeah.
So metrics is one. Second, what version of the system has been built, right? What kind of algorithms were built, used to build a V0 versus H2? How large are the data sets? What is their data strategy? What is company's AI strategy? Okay. If you look at the background of the hiring manager, does hiring manager himself is somebody who has been there, done AI, or somebody who was doing maybe a product or a business in the company and it's now kind of running the show?
Right.
This will have a difference, right? So if you go to the companies that have been there, done that, right, you will find that the hiring managers are people who have done AI for 3, 5, 7, 10 years. Maybe at some point of time, ICs on their own. Right. So they have proper definition like AI managers. Right. These are research managers who themselves might have even published. It's not important for the company to publish. A lot of companies can't do that. So don't make that a criteria. But has the person at least in their entire journey published 2, 3, 4 papers? If yes, then they understand enough about AI. And I think that's a good way. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. The summary is basically ask for nuance.
The devil always lies in the details, right?
Yeah.
So if someone says, I have cooked this food, oh, how long did you boil it for? Did you fry it? Did you blanch it? The reality will come out.
Wait.
The same applies to AI.
Okay, very interesting. This is a simple enough answer. I was hoping this to be a more complex, but yeah, simplicity is always better. Next up is that if I'm a software developer, um, AI is a reality for this field, right? So as you said earlier, we should be AI aware, even if we are not switching to AI. How can I myself? How can I make myself more aware as a software developer? What hobby projects do you recommend that everybody should do in their weekends, in their spare time? um, to be more AI aware.
See, it's not just projects. You should start from a project, definitely, right? So I would say
Okay.
there are a lot of these platforms where you can go and you have data sets and problems easily available. Right? You could go and train some model, build some system. Right? But don't just get caught in that whole loop. Once you build 2, 3, 4 of them, or try and understand the foundation of it. Okay. If you AI is not, like I said, from this important. When you say X dot split, and your model is say SG boost, right? How does SG boost work? What is SG boost? Go and learn these foundations. Right? At some point of time, you'll start to hit points where the maths is now going above your head, which is where you'll then have to go and pick up the foundational stuff, learn the probability, the linear algebra, right? That is needed to do this. Then go back. See, if you start from maths from 10, you will be so far away from your end goal that you'll feel lost.
Yeah, and it becomes dry as well. I mean, like,
Yes.
um,
I won't say that. If you love maths, it's not dry. But
yeah,
yeah, right. I mean,
yeah,
and maths is never dry, but it also depends on everyone's experiences back in their schools and colleges, right?
yeah,
To that, but that is
correct.
why I said start from a project, right? But then just we don't like I applied or I won 80 competitions. Great. I mean, everybody respects that, but you understand the fundamentals behind, right? You
Right.
understand the algorithm behind it. Once you understand the algorithm, you understand the maths behind it, right? Because unless you do all of this stuff, you won't also appreciate a lot of limitations of it. So knowing a topic is not just to know how it works. Knowing a topic is also a lot more about what it is not.
Right.
Why AI is not a human brain, right? Because deep down, if you think or if you see, all the AI as of today is an optimization problem. All the
Yeah.
AI that is there. Does brain work like solving an optimization problem? No, that's not how brain works. It seems, right? So maybe that's the answer, or maybe there are deeper answers, right? But saying that, hey, I have this magical sword that will kill anything and everything is a very, very wrong way of taking it, right? Uh, so one of my professors always said this, and I've held this line very close to my heart, right? So someone who knows only about hammer, everything is a nail, right? So don't go about that whole thing. Understand that if you're dealing with a screw, you need a screwdriver. If you're dealing with a nail, you need a hammer. If you're dealing with a bolt, you need a plier or a ratchet. If you're dealing with a pivot, then it's something else altogether. So AI is a tool in your tool belt. Of course, a very, very, very powerful tool. But at the end of the day, it is just another tool. So knowing its limitation
Very
is
interesting.
important.
Very, very interesting. This is a very simple yet very powerful and a very practical perspective. I think it's a very comforting perspective that it's not, it does not warrant a complete career change. It's just this new tool that you have to learn and then integrate it well along with your other tool sets and other skill sets.
And I would
And
also, I mean, there's a question, sorry, I'm putting this question here.
yeah,
But a question I get is, oh, by the time I do all this, then I'll get to join an AI team, right? Uh, the answer I always suggest is, when was the last time you took a steep right turn or a left turn while going from left lane to the right of lane or vice versa?
right,
Right. So from a software, move on to analytics. But keep on doing all this groundwork. From
right,
analytics, see if you can go to the data team. From data team, see if you can go to the AI ops team. From AI ops team, that is when you start working with AI scientists very, very closely. Become an AI engineer. Right. So you keep making these changes, right? So the way we change lane is give an indicator, go from left lane to one right, then one right, then one right, then one right, eventually to the right of lane. Right. So we don't take steep rights or the steep left.
hmm.
Right? Because it doesn't happen that way. So that way, you also see your career changing in terms of if you are too enamored by the titles and the day-to-day work also.
Right.
But if you want to land AI scientist job tomorrow, I would strongly suggest you need at least a master's in machine. That's the only way to land an AI scientist job tomorrow if you are a software engineer today.
Okay, but then not everybody would want to become an AI scientist professionally. I think that's a very niche job and it requires a lot of software support underneath. So that's one of the, I think you need to like and imbibe mathematics very, very deeply to succeed as an AI scientist. But, and that's less of a software role, more of a more of an AI role. Let me just say that. Um, and there are multiple layers underneath how it's executed operationally, how it's executed at runtime in production,
Yeah.
which requires a lot of software rigor,
Yeah.
which does
I
not
mean,
need a ML master. So,
yeah. I mean, the only reason I said is a lot of people are enamored by that, and a lot of people are enamored by it because you have some of the highest packages over there, which is a reality. I'm not debating it. But understand that that is because today the demand supply curve is in favor of the supply.
right.
Right? The demand is very high, the supply is very minimal. We all understand where the prices will be. But
Yeah.
a lot of people that I have known, that I grew up seeing, were not doing this because there were higher packages. As a matter of fact, these are people who have been doing AI for since 90. This is what they love.
Yeah.
And which is why they are bloody good at it. Now, of course, there is a wave, and because of their labor and love, they are encashing that. I'm not denying that part. Right? But I think some of these people will still continue to do AI, even if a large part of this tide dies tomorrow. Right? And that's a
Because
very,
they still love it.
yeah, I think that's a very important thing to also know.
Yeah, this ties back to your original suggestion that do what you like. Don't try to just ride a wave for the sake of it, because waves are meant to end. They will not last forever. So do what you like.
Absolutely. And I can give an example, right? I mean, today, if you're trying to train a state of the art LLM, Bhavat, a single train cycle can cost $1 to $2 million. If you're trying to train a model from scratch, right? There are teams which do this, and the CTO has to give a sign off before the next training cycle of the model even commences, because the amount of expenses is so high. Now, because the amount of expense is so high in a single training cycle, they also require engineers which are trying to engineer this to extremities so that the cost can come down drastically. AI
Right.
scientists can't do that.
Yeah.
They just can't do that. Right? They can only talk of the higher level stuff. But somebody needs to undergo these platform stuff, right? The PyTorches of the world, to know that if I go and make such a change in the way PyTorch is implemented, I can reduce 2 of the compute cycles or 2 of the training cycles, thereby actually saving $2 to $3 million of them.
Right.
Right? So AI engineering itself is a lot of extreme examples, right? Like I gave an example where we tried to productionize 50,000 models, right? And we had to open up the entire framework inside out and understand what is that exact parts that we need. Let us remove all the other baggage completely, strip it down to its bare minimum, and that's how we were able to do that whole thing. Otherwise, we could not have done that in a couple of GB RAM. Right?
Right.
So you need people who are damn good at, which is why, right? Be one thing that you are amazingly good at. Right? Think of millions of transactions in teams. It's an extreme engineering problem. How do you make it happen? Because you can't do it, right? I mean, think of a YouTube, right? So YouTube has this real-time subtitles.
Yeah.
So this is one of those nuanced problem where the output cannot be delayed by more than a fraction of a second, because if it did, then what the video is speaking and what the video is showing is out of sync, right?
Yeah.
Now think of the amount of engineering one would have to do to get this out. AI model, which is doing, or AI system, I would rather use the word, not model one, is able to make all of this happen at the scale of internet, where the delay cannot be more than a fraction of a second.
Right.
Because if it is, then the entire purpose is stupid. Right? And a lot of AI projects have these kind of scenarios that will come up.
Right. So here you have to optimize between the speed and the correctness. The speed goes towards the engineering rigor as to how you are processing the data and what data to strip away so that you are sending minimal and then doing minimal processing, versus the accuracy, which goes towards the AI internals as to what part of the models can you trim off and
Yeah.
minimally impact the accuracy and yet
Yeah.
have like the same or
Correct.
similar outcome. So requires like rigor on both software as well as AI fronts to achieve a sweet spot.
Yeah. So it's the same thing, right? If you're building best in class racing car,
Yeah.
you need the best in class engine. There is no two questions about it.
Yeah. But you also need the best in class chassis and the tires and
the nut bolt. Even that nut bolt has to be able to operate at that very high temperature. How do you design nut bolts that can take on that kind of a gravity, that kind of a
G-force.
forces,
Yeah.
that kind of a temperature, right? One nut can cause a havoc to the
Right.
entire racing track, not just racing cars.
Yeah.
Right. So it requires all of that stuff, and that requires. So good AI teams look for brilliant engineers. I mean, I have had some of them on my own, whereby these are people who understand their aspects beautifully. And there is no way AI team can work without it. You can bring the best in class scientists, you will come and write the greatest equation on the earth, but who will make that system work?
Right.
Somebody needs to get that thing done, right? So
Yeah.
that is where I would say that tech first always comes second. And this, if you love it, I think you are an unstoppable force.
Okay, this is popping various sort of questions in my head, and I think we are just getting started. If an AI scientist is writing an equation, the whole game is to then run that equation with minimal resources, with minimal cost. Because unless you minimize the cost, you can't really sell it. And some aspects on that, like what are companies doing right and wrong, aspects of how AI is relevant for India, and I think there are multiple conversations that are going to continue in this series, but I would want to take my time to expand on those properly, and I would say let's pause this conversation here for it to be continued in one of the future podcasts.
Sure, whatever works for you and your audience, I'm happy to do.
Awesome. It was a great pleasure having you here, Anuj, and thank you for taking all the time to do the podcast, right?
Thank you so much, Marvin. Thank you so much for taking your time and having me.